Juggling chainsaws, riding a unicycle, and someone hands you a puppy. Sound familiar?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a pretty accurate picture of single parenthood.
Right. And then we're supposed to add self-care on top of all that. So today, we're diving into the Single Mothers podcast with St. Vincent.
Wow, I love him.
He's the real deal.
Right.
He gets it. And one of the first things he says is, you can't pour from an empty cup.
So true.
Like, it's so obvious, but we forget it all the time.
Totally. And he frames it in a way that takes away the guilt. Self-care isn't selfish. It's about filling yourself up so you can actually care for others.
Okay, I like that. But what does that even look like practically?
Right. It's not all spa days and meditation retreats, although those would be nice.
A single parent can dream.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly. But St. Vincent, he talks about taking a holistic view. So, yeah, the physical stuff is important. Sleep, food, exercise.
Hold on. Did you just say sleep to a single parent?
I know. It feels impossible sometimes.
An understatement.
But even just being mindful of those things helps. And then there's the mental and emotional side. Spending a little time doing something you enjoy, even if it's just for 15 minutes.
Okay, so we have permission to enjoy things.
Yeah.
Revolutionary.
It really is. Because the guilt is real. We're conditioned to put everyone else's needs first.
Oh, yeah, constantly. But St. Vincent, he calls that out. He says a happy, balanced parent is a better parent, not a selfish one.
Yes. And you're modeling healthy behavior for your kids. They're watching how you treat yourself.
That's a good point. I hadn't thought of it like that.
It's setting the stage for them to prioritize their well-being, too.
So it's a win-win. You get to feel good, and you're teaching your kids to do the same.
Exactly. And this is where it gets really practical. He's all about small, consistent actions over grand gestures.
Okay, so ditch the guilt trip about not having a full spa day and just try for 10 minutes of quiet time with a cup of tea.
You got it. He even suggests putting it in your calendar, like any other important appointment.
Ooh, scheduling self-care. I like it. Now, what about those days when even 10 minutes feels impossible?
He talks about that too. Having a support system is key.
Right, because we can't do this alone. Easier said than done sometimes, though, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely. He talks about reaching out to friends, family, maybe even a therapist.
You know, we talk about scheduling self-care.
Yeah.
But something St. Vincent said really stuck with me.
What's that?
He said, self-care is not a reward.
Oh, yeah. It's a necessity.
Yes, not something you earn after you've done everything else.
Right. Like, once the laundry's done, then I can relax. No way. It's got to be a need.
Exactly. And that's kind of a radical shift, isn't it? With all this pressure to be super mom?
It is. That's why I love that he talks about listening to your inner voice. Like, really paying attention to what your body and mind are telling you.
Even when it feels like you don't have time to think, let alone listen.
Especially then. Just taking a few minutes to check in with yourself. How's your energy? What are you feeling?
It's like hitting the pause button on autopilot for a sec.
Exactly. And he emphasizes how important that is, because ignoring those whispers, it just leads to a bigger meltdown later.
So it's not selfish, it's strategic. I like that.
Right. And here's the thing. He even talks about giving yourself permission to put yourself first sometimes.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
Right. It can feel so uncomfortable.
Like you're breaking some fundamental rule of motherhood.
Yes. But he challenges that. He's like, taking care of yourself, IS, taking care of your family.
Because if you're running on fumes, you're no good to anyone, right?
Exactly. And it's not just about you. It creates this ripple effect.
Ooh, how so?
When you prioritize your well-being, you're more present, more patient, more available for those real connections with your kids.
It changes the whole dynamic.
And you're showing your kids how to set healthy boundaries, how to value themselves.
Which is huge GE. Because we often don't do that for ourselves, and then we wonder why our kids struggle with it.
Right. You can't give what you don't have.
So true.
And he reminds us, it's not about being perfect, it's about progress. Self-care is a journey.
Being kind to ourselves along the way.
Exactly. It's a process of figuring out what works for you.
You know, it's easy to feel a little overwhelmed with all this talk about self-care.
Yeah, I get it. One more thing to add to the to-do list, right?
Exactly. But St. Vincent, he has a way of reframing it that's really helpful.
Totally. It's not about adding more to your plate.
It's about having the energy to deal with what's already there.
Yeah.
Without losing yourself in the process.
Yes. And he's big on the idea that we don't have to do this alone. Like, building a support system is crucial, even if it's just one or two people you can really rely on.
That's so important. But asking for help as a single parent?
Oh, it's hard.
It goes against everything we're conditioned to do, right?
Absolutely. We're supposed to be super mom, handling it all.
Exactly. But he actually says that asking for help is a sign of strength.
Yes. Whether it's from friends, family, or even a therapist.
Just admitting that we can't do everything ourselves?
It makes such a difference. And you know what I love? He talks about single mothers as this community.
Oh, I like that. Not just struggling on our own.
Right. We're a force to be reckoned with, lifting each other up.
Because when one of us wins, we all win, right?
Exactly.
So, as we wrap up this deep dive on self-care for single moms.
I feel like we all need a little self-care after this conversation.
Right. But seriously, we want to leave you with a little challenge. What's one tiny thing you can do for yourself today? Just one thing.
It could be 5 minutes of quiet time. Finally booking that haircut you've been putting off. Anything.
Write it down. Schedule it in your calendar. And treat it like any other important appointment.
Because you deserve it. Self-care isn't selfish.
It's the secret weapon that helps you be the best parent and the best version of yourself.
Couldn't have said it better myself.